So during those early days, what story do you think helped propel you or give you an instinct? You know what? I'm doing the right thing. Kanjo, was it Kanjo?
Kanjo Kingdom. Yeah, that was our very first one. Yeah. So Kanjo Kingdom was big for us because it helped us recognize that actually, there's these stories that people are not paying attention to that have such an important impact on how we just live in our city. And that also drove us then now to do Inspector Fisi, which now focused on the nature of corruption and who it affects. One of my favorite stories from that early time was a series we did called End of the River, where we went into northern Kenya and tried to follow the path of the Wasonyiro, but also tell the stories of the communities who are using that water. It took us deep into Samburu County, it took us into Laikipia County, so a lot of the violence that you saw happening 2018, we were right there when it was all taking place. Met a couple of good people along the way, and it was the first time that I had spent more than 2 years following a story, like going back during the rainy season, going during the dry season, following the herds, following the people, and it gave me such a deep appreciation for that part of the country. But I'd say the story that was a breakout piece for us was one that we did on war profiteering in South Sudan and how that money wound up here. It was called The Profiteers in 2018. Interestingly, it's the one story that up until that point, most of our stories were running on our platform, but also on legacy media. That was the first time we were told, no, this story can't run. And I was livid. And I sent out a tweet, like it was supposed to run on the 9 o'clock news. They had promoted it. I sent out a tweet and said, we've given all of our assurances that we've worked hard on this story editorially, etc. But for some reasons, the management at KTN wasn't ready to run the story. And we said, look, it's their right, but it's our story, so we'll publish. We published and the story blew up. That story led us to a number of things. We got our first international award as Africa Uncensored for it, the Trace International Prize for Reporting on Corruption. We got an award from the Global Investigative Journalism Network. We got an award locally from the annual Journalism Excellence Awards. The story was quoted and cited in the House of Commons. It was screened in countries across Africa. And so it really helped build our profile as journalists who are also focused on Africa. So I'd say that was 3 years into working at Africa Uncensored that people then finally sat up and are like, actually, these guys are doing some important work.